Gerald, it was an honor to meet you down there at the Orvis store back when we were there last October, I believe it was.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
I'm glad to see you're attending this meeting and see all these other Healing Waters guys as well. That's great. Awesome. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'm Howard Otten. I live up on Lake Mary, and I was just was introduced to Trouts Unlimited through you remember his name?
Paul, someone.
Paul. Anyway, it was that I had dinner with friends, and he was over there, and he told me to get involved. If if I wanted to get involved, you would.
Yeah.
The people there would maybe show me some of the saluda, how to wade it, or I went down it in the kayaks, and I don't think I'd do it again. I think the water was high, and I was kind of scared going down there. So the banks are kind of steep and looks a little dangerous at times, and kind of would need somebody to kind of tutor me through that. I used to fish New York State, some of the rivers up in New York State, and fly fish. And I've been away from it for quite a while because I've been down here quite a while. And I like conservation as well, and I like to see clean streams and clean banks and not a lot of garbage around. And so I don't know if I'd be a fit or not. I'm already I'm retired, and I volunteer with a Christian group 1 day a week. And besides that, I have quite a bit to do here. I garden and things like that. I might think about getting involved with you all.
We're glad to have you, and honored to have you. So hope that you'll decide to maybe join up if you haven't joined, but we don't put any pressure on anybody to join. This chapter's got right at 1,000 members, I believe, and we don't twist anybody's arm.
Is that in the area at South Carolina, or?
No, that's for the Midlands, and that includes Charleston and the Grand Strand area. So
okay.
We're probably over 1,000 members. So
do you go down and fish around Charleston?
Personally, no, I do not.
Okay.
I wish I did, but I'm a working fellow, so I can't do that.
Yep. Yeah.
Anybody else on new introductions?
Yes, I'm Frank Kirk from Edisto Island. Somebody else is talking. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm Frank Kirk from Edisto Island, brand new both to Trout Unlimited and to Project Healing Waters. Looking forward to being involved with both of them, and I've enjoyed very much Project Healing Waters. So I look forward to being on the Saluda someday soon.
Well, I think a lot of people do, but hopefully one day we can get out there. I don't know when. So but we're grateful. Anybody else, new member or prospective member, or hadn't been with us in a while? All right, Jacob, I think that's you.
All right, Keith, thank you for that. What do you have the status of any of your upcoming trips at all?
Yeah, I do. Of course, I encourage people to go to the website, check out the trip reports, and if you get really, really, really bored, you can check those out. And
they're great. Whatever.
Yeah,
they're great. They're great.
Very well written.
Yeah, they are good. They're very entertaining.
I've been doing the outings now for close to 20 years. I would say 20. But this year's definitely been one to remember. The next upcoming trip is the Watauga River Lodge. That is scheduled for October 23rd through the 27th. I am going to cancel that trip, sadly. Quite frankly, those that have been on an outing know how we roll. we're all together on that particular trip. It's a premium trip. And, you know, you cut it in half, and just those things are not stable right now, and nobody knows what's going on. And so I'm going to do it, you know, as bad as I feel about it, but I prayed about it, and I know it's the right thing to do. So future trips for 2020, I'm usually planning and doing all that. Well, right now, I'm not doing that. 2021 now. I wish I had better news, but it's just not for group trips, overnight stays. That's a problem. Now, for day trips and us getting together and meeting at Sportsman's Warehouse and pairing up, a couple of folks driving, and we go fish the Davidson. Keep an eye out for that kind of thing, because we're not going to totally just quit fishing, but for group stays overnight, everybody together, it just that's not conducive. It's it's a fluid situation right now, and the news isn't trending in a positive manner. So I have to add to that, and I won't keep anybody any longer with the Watauga River Lies trip. Brownie has agreed. I've got 19 people signed up for that trip, by the way, not including myself and Sherry. But Brownie has agreed to keep that week open for our people. If they want to go up on their own and stay at the lodge and go out to eat, great. He'll have those dates open for you. Anybody that wants to go, just mention the chapter, mention me, and you've got priority. So, but a group trip to the Watauga River Lodge, 10, 12 people in one place, we can't do it. So.
Well, I think we're all playing it by ear, and that's definitely the smart call to do. As always, we appreciate all the hard work you do for those trips, Keith. And like you said, we'll just keep playing it by ear, and maybe the new norm is doing the day trips, and everybody kind of, you know, socially distances on the river, but we can still fish together.
Yeah. That's the way I'm looking at it. Is but we cannot do what we are used to doing. And if you read a trip report, you'll see how we roll if you haven't been on a trip. But we're not going to, as soon as this is over with and we can get through it, I'm going to hit it like Herschel Walker. And we're going to hit it hard. So,
well, I think we're all looking forward to seeing the trips you have lined up, Keith.
All right. Good.
All right. The Trout in the Classroom program, Mike Waddell, any updates on that, or just a general overview of what that is?
The update is we don't know. It's based on school district on how they're going to reopen. Lexington, Richland 5 is supposed to have a board meeting tonight to decide on how they're going to do the opening, you know, whether or not it's going to be part in class, part virtual. We don't know. We are preparing right now to basically say that it's not going to happen this year because the chaos that the teachers are having to try to do Trout in the Classroom might be a bit too much. There might be some teachers that want to participate, and if they do, we're going to go ahead with it. So that's where we are right now.
Okay.
It's all up in the wind.
Okay. And last year, how many schools did we have?
We had 9 in Columbia.
9 in Columbia. How many for the whole state? Do you know?
I believe it was 28 or 29 for the whole state.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's a great program, and Mike does a lot of hard work to keep that going around here. He's always running around to schools and making sure the fish and the fry and the little trout stay alive.
Yes. So, hopefully, I don't know what Will's thoughts are, but I think probably mid-August, we're going to know what's really going on in the world.
Okay.
I made arrangements today with the South Carolina Geo Survey. If we need to move equipment out, we can store it over in their warehouse.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, Mike, it's really just a waiting game to find out, which.
Yeah, we don't know.
I mean, we have to know which school districts are going to be in the classroom and whether or not they're virtual. So
I think what we're going to see is it's going to be a mixture.
yeah, I think so too. And DNR is prepared for that to help out with each of our chapter contacts.
Right. So, we're just August.
Yep. Playing it by ear like everybody else.
The other news I have was that we have put our former past president, Greg Bacone, up for a nominee for the National Board of Trustees, representing the Leadership Council, National Leadership Council, as one of their trustees. And we were getting all letters of recommendation and everything together today and forwarded up there. And hopefully Greg will be one of the 2 that they need up there for the National Leadership Conference. They have 7 trustees that are on the national board. And so they represent us, the grassroots. The other board members are all more corporate types. And so if we can get Greg in there, it'll be great for Greg, and it'll be really great for South Carolina TU.
Yes.
That's all I got.
All right. What was the other program that we're talking about pairing with Trout in the Classroom?
Oh, that's going to be Save Our Streams, and that is a joint venture with TU and the Wilkes something Society and the American Fisheries Society. So I don't know, Will, if you've looked at it, but it's the outdoor portion of like Trout in the Classroom. So we'll have to find some biologists and everything to help in this program, but it's usually student participation, looking at macro, micro invertebrates, water quality. Matter of fact, we have to be certified as water quality analysis. And I'm sending it out. It's from 8th grade or higher. I'm going to send it out to the teachers, but we're going to tell them we're not even going to look at this program until next year.
Right.
In 2021. But I think this is a nice extension to Trout in the Classroom. And the other nice thing is it doesn't have to be a cold water stream. It can be any stream that, might be close to a school that these students want to participate, but it gets them out to look at the environment and the ecology and the water quality of these streams and how it varies during the year.
Good. Well, we will definitely be prepared to get that on the ground and running come the new year when everything settles down.
Right.
Good. Conservation news. Mike, you're on the spot again.
Oh, okay. Okay. The 2 big things is the paving of Barrels Ford Road. Paving an additional mile of the Barrels Ford Road. They had been for decades opposition from some members in the upstate on both South Carolina and Georgia side about doing this. but it's going to reduce the amount of sedimentation that's going into Crane Creek. And the other thing is to replace the culvert there and put an AOP, which is an aquatic organism passage, so that we're part of the connect part of TU's mission now is to connect so that the brook trout can migrate further upstream. The South Carolina State Council is putting $3,700 towards the project. The Georgia Council informed me last week that they are giving $1,000 to the project. And I talked to Keith Whaling, who is the Sumter and Francis Marion Forest District biologist, and we're getting an agreement together so that we can transfer the funds from TU to the U.S. Forest Service, and they're real happy about that.
Good, good.
The other thing too, which is in the upstate, which is between Barrels Ford and Oconee State Park, which is the headwater, one of the headwater streams that goes into the Chattooga and to King Creek, which is Pigpen Branch. And the land up there, it belonged to a family and they had a pond on it. It's a spring-fed pond, so we know that's the headwaters. They decided to put it up for sale, and somebody went to buy it, had a contract on it, and then the pandemic hit and they backed out of the deal and the price dropped. So Natural Land Trust bought the land, which eventually be transferred to the Forest Service. And we're going to tear the dam down. So now that we'll have natural flow going all the way down. And again, that's going to help with the brook trout up there, the native brook trout. Other than that, I haven't heard anything about getting the community science projects back up and working. They tried to get it started, but I think with this latest increase in the virus, I think that we're not going to be doing it for a while. And it's not King Creek, it's King Creek, which is where on Barrels Ford Road, and also Pigpen Branch drains into King Creek, which drains into the Chattooga.
Okay.
So yeah, things are looking up.
We're staying busy and things are getting done in South Carolina, and that's what we like to see.
Right.
Yes.
And,
The other thing too is, and I'm trying to figure out how to do this, but National wants all the chapters in each state to sort of like, especially on conservation, is to be one cohesive group instead of having these entities out here doing these projects and not bothering to inform the other chapters or anything. So I'm trying to figure out how we can get the conservation group as one cohesive group. And then Gary Davis out of Mountain Ridge is actually our council conservation chairman. And so I'm working with Gary right now. The problem is we might have to alter the state council bylaws in order to pull this off. Because I went and looked at the bylaws, and the bylaws says that each chapter in the state is an independent entity.
Yep.
So
may I ask if this is Lucas, may I ask if you get around that portion of it, which I'm not sure how easy or difficult that is it as simple as all the chapters kind of come together and say, hey, these are the projects we have going on, and then you determine, okay, these are, just make the priority list from there?
Right. So basically what it would be, Lucas, is, okay, it would sort of be like everybody will answer to Gary and he will disseminate everything back out. So most of the big conservation projects are in the upstate, and they will need volunteers to work on these. And so Gary I'm trying to get Gary to send out to all the chapters if they need volunteers, so we can get volunteers from Columbia, Seneca, and Greenville.
Yeah.
So we all work together on it. I mean, in the past, and well, I don't think there's any of the old timers here, but we'd go to a state council meeting, then all of a sudden, like the Mountain Bridge group would look at us and say, oh, we need a couple $1,000s for this conservation project. And we would look at them and say, what project? You know, they'd never bothered to mention it to us until they wanted the money.
Yeah.
So we're trying to eliminate that right now. That's what we're trying to do.
And one thing that's come out of us, everybody having to limit our in-person interactions, is with these Zoom meetings, it's allowed us to be able to communicate further distances. So the state council, we had quite a showing. I mean, we had what, a dozen or so people there?
Right.
Council. So I definitely think that being on Zoom and allowing people to go to these meetings without having to travel an hour or two to them will allow us to bring a little bit more communication and transparency between the chapters in the state, for sure. So
yeah, I think so too.
Well, also, and there's a benefit for you know, veterans and new members as well. I mean, you become more familiar with the waterways. Like, I fish Jones Gap all the time. So whenever whenever Saluda is high, I just take that 1.5 to 2 hour drive.
Right.
I catch trout there year round. I mean, and there was a member earlier talking about fishing upstate New York, where most of my family's from. And that reminds me most of streams upstate New York. That's just very similar. I mean, you can walk 4 or 5 miles of it. So it's a pretty short drive, all things considered. Whereas, you know, Saluda, I mean, every 15, 20 minutes, you really got to watch that current. And then if you find out, hey, there's a great project going on that the Mountain Bridge chapter, whomever's working on, you're like, oh, wow, I'd like to help out with that. And to Jacob's point, these meetings really help with that, because otherwise you might not know.
right.
Well, we'll have an update. I've got a meeting on the 30th of July with Andy Brown, who is the Southern Appalachian Stream Restoration Manager, Natural Land Trust, U.S. Forest Service, Gary Davis, and we're meeting up there about the Pigpen Branch land. So I can give everybody an update once I get back from that meeting, and that's going to be an in-person meeting. Or at least it's scheduled for now, but you know, in an hour now, it might not happen. So.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you, Mike, for your work that you've been doing with that. And also go to the website, check out the conservation section on the website. Like I said, we're trying to keep that updated. There's an article up there that's linked to the SCELP, which is this South Carolina Environmental Law Project. They are doing pro bono work for us to help us protect our streams.
Yeah, especially on the East-Toe.
Yes. So definitely give SCELP a check out. They always welcome donations for sure for that. And check out the conservation section. And if you see something that interests you, reach out to us and let us know you're willing to help. License plates are available. There is a link on the website with directions on how to do that. You can also go to the SCDMV plate gallery and look up Trout. The plates look great. Lucas has one. I've seen that. Looks real good on his car. And part of that money comes back to TU and helps support cold water conservation. And it already is. We're using some of that money to help with the Burroughs 4 project.
That's correct.
So, your money at work.
I got it fast too. I got it in like 3 days.
Yeah, mine too. I
Yeah,
saw
it came
I mean,
quick.
PMV of all people.
Yeah, it came real quick.
And now, Gerald, did you want to give us a little status update of Project Healing Waters fly fishing?
Sure, sure. For those of you that may not be aware, Project Healing Waters is really dedicated to the physical and emotional rehabilitation of disabled active service personnel as well as disabled veterans through fly fishing and associated activities, including education and outings. Project Healing Waters was formed as a nonprofit back in 2007. It really started before it became a nonprofit at Walter Reed Army Medical Center, working with disabled military service members. It's expanded nationwide, and we now have over 225 programs. We don't call them chapters, we call them programs. It's very successful. It's all volunteer run. Currently, we have about 3,300 volunteers, and we support about 8,500 injured and disabled military service personnel and disabled veterans. Our program provides basic fly fishing, fly casting, fly tying, rod building classes, along with clinics for participants ranging from beginners who have never fished before to those with prior fishing and fly tying experience. And for our participants, all fly fishing and fly tying equipment is provided to the participant at no cost. Now, we also have canceled all of our trips this year, and we have been informed that we will probably not meet at the VA or Department of Defense warrior transition units, medical centers, etc., probably until January of 21. It's unique that our volunteers are teaching classes on an ongoing long-term basis. It's much more than one-time fishing trip. And for many of our participants, socialization and camaraderie of the classes are just as important as the fishing outings, and provide them with an activity and a community they're familiar with. And we provide the lifeline that connects disabled veterans, our volunteers and programs on a long-term healing relationship. Walter, who's also on this call, ran our program very successfully here in Charleston up until about a year and a half ago, when he and his wife moved to Georgetown and bought a home, and then he asked if I'd take it over. And we currently have about 60 participants and about 20 volunteers who support our program. And as Walter talked about when we first signed on, we're doing 2 Zoom sessions a month. It's normally the first and the third Tuesdays of each month. And one of those Tuesdays is an educational session where we've talked everything from the history of fly fishing to the entomology of a stream and how to determine what the fish are eating and match those little insects and critters with a correct fly to be more successful fly fishermen. And the last Zoom educational series we did, it was about pan fishing, how to be successful, how to identify the different panfish that we catch in our area. And the other Tuesday, we tie flies. And so on the 21st, we will tie flies. We'll break the personnel. Normally we have 18 to 20 that participate in our Zoom sessions. And we will break them into 2 groups. those that are brand new to fly tying, and I will lead that group, and Walter will lead the more advanced group in our Zoom fly tying. And what we do is I've ordered all of the supplies. I put the kits together. I'm retired after almost 42 years in the Army. I like to say I was a slow learner. And so we'll get those kits all mailed out, and they will get enough material to tie probably 5 flies of each type that we will tie. So any questions, I'd be happy to attempt to answer them. If not, Walter's also on, and
So if somebody comes to me and they're asking about Project Healing Waters, I'm going to send them to you.
please
Is
do.
that okay? Because we don't have somebody locally here that I know of.
We had a program in Charleston, and the individual moved, and nobody wanted to take the responsibility to lead it.
Yeah.
And
In Columbia?
in Columbia, yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And
there's
there are people that have voiced interest in helping us get that restarted. And our regional coordinator, our region is South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi. Our regional coordinator lives here in Mount Pleasant. And so we would, once we identify somebody, COVID is going to make it a little more complicated to get it started. So we could lay the groundwork between now and the beginning of the year, and hopefully then get the headquarters to approve the addition of that chapter or that program back in Columbia. And we get some, I'd share vices, tool sets, etc. with you all until you're all able to get your own for the program. So it is a great program. We had difficulty here for a while in getting young ladies involved or females involved in the program, and now we have 5 or 6. They find it rewarding also.
Sure.
There is a program in Greenville that's active also.
Right.
Yeah, they've got a grant from Flora Corporation.
Yes, they do. They've got some good support up there in the upstate. Originally, I'm from Greenville, so I'm familiar with that area. Jones Gap Creek, I've been fishing from 50 years ago.
So the national website are the initials phwff.org. If you go to that website, you go to the lower left-hand corner and there's a map of the United States. You click on that map and it'll bring up a much larger map, and you click on the state and it will show you who the regional coordinator is, where the programs are located, who the program coordinator is for each of those programs, and their email address.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Gerald, and thank you everybody from Project Healing Waters that is here joining us tonight. We definitely appreciate everybody attending. I will be in contact with you, Gerald, to make sure that we get all of your contact information and as much information about Project Healing Waters as we can on our website, and make sure that that information is shared to everybody that we know, and help you
Great, appreciate that.
as much as we can.
Also, one of our sponsors, Trout Unlimited, Temple Fork Outfitters, they make fly rods and 5-weight and 8-weight 4-piece fly rods that have the logo for Project Healing Waters, and you get a $25 kickback to that organization if you buy a 5-weight or 8-weight.
That's correct.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. I mean, you get a fly rod and then it goes right back to, it's sort of like the license plates.
They also provide they also provide fly rods for our projects. So when we order just for our use only,
Yeah.
they are their fly rods with that logo already on it too.
Yep. TFO makes good stuff, so.
Yes.
All right.
I think Johnny Butler here in town, Fly South, is a TFO representative. He
Yep.
sells
Yes,
TFO
he
fly
is.
rod. So if you're looking for a TFO and supporting Project Healing Waters, Johnny Butler of Fly South. I don't know if Johnny's on the website or not, but he has a little fly shop out of his home.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's about all we have as far as updates for the chapter, what our plans are going forward. Like I said, there's going to be no in-person meetings. I mean, it's just the smart and safe thing to do. Keep our membership safe, but it doesn't mean we're going to stop working towards cold water conservation within the state. Hopefully this brings us all together a little bit more, gets us talking more, gets us motivated to get back out there and work together to make our streams cleaner, safer, and more beautiful. Will, if you'd like to introduce the presentation that we are going to be, I'll be sharing the link to it right now via the chat feature. So can everybody see that?
I don't want to, I'm sorry to steal your thunder there, Will, but before we cut away, I did want to say regarding the outings, I do have deposits from people that I've had over the year, and I have a cash app. I'll get those deposits back to you. I am not in the business of keeping somebody's money. I don't like that, but I had to, as the outings have gone, I've had to, accept deposits because of cancellations and things like that. So I am prepared if someone's on a trip and they have a question about it, give me a shout. I'll get your money back to you. Specifically the Watauga River Lodge trip. And also, I usually roll out the trip September, October timeframe, and that's if we go to some day trips, keep an outlook on the website or just give me a shout about those things. And Jacob, if you can add my trip report for the Wilson onto the website, that'd be great.
Yes, I will definitely get to that. I apologize for the delay, Keith.
That's all right. No hard feelings at all. It's a tough job you got. But any kind of questions on trips, I'm hoping to roll out something in September, October, and look for little day trips. Could be a day trip during the middle of the week or weekend. That's just the way we're going to have to do these things.
Yep.
If we do it all. Yep. So, okay, I'm sorry, Will. Go ahead.
No problem at all. It's important stuff. So for our speaker today, we have a presentation that Jacob has posted in the chat. It should have gone out in an email as well. It is a recent freshwater feature that SCDNR did, highlighting the history, background, and areas and restoration projects for trout in the state of South Carolina. It features speakers from aquatic education, from the fisheries coordinator, as well as the fisheries biologists in every part of the state that has trout. If you haven't seen it yet, it is totally free. You'll go to that link, just click and hit play. It's about an hour and a half. It went over 30 minutes because Ron had a lot of really good information about the Saluda River. And he talks about our lower Saluda River study as well, and how much stripers actually eat our rainbow trout. So that's great. But it is a really good presentation. I learned a lot, and I feel like I know this fishery pretty well. So give it a watch. If it's not going anywhere, so if you can't view it right after the meeting, you can watch it while at dinner or breakfast or whatever. But really good meeting, and there's some great old clips and videos about some of the original trout ponds and stockings up in Walhalla as well. It was a bumpy ride for our trout early in our history. I hope you guys enjoy.
Thanks, Will.
Thanks, Will. So can everybody see the link that I shared in the Zoom chat?
I got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Everybody's got it.
And make sure to copy and paste that as well.
Okay.
So how do I get the link now?
It should
I'm
be
sorry.
in the chat section of.
Okay,
Bottom of your screen, there's a chat button. Click right there and you'll see it.
just switch on it
Oh, okay.
like
Everybody.
that. Oh, okay.
I will also go ahead and throw it up on the website real quick if anybody doesn't see it, or just if they want to come back to it again, I'll throw it up there on the website after this ends. Again, thank you everybody for showing up tonight. I know it's not our conventional monthly meeting, but you know, unique times we're having right now. So I appreciate everybody that came to join us. Please visit the website. Check out the About section. If you ever have questions, all the board members, all their contact information is up there, emails, phone numbers. So if you ever need to get in contact with us about anything, feel free to drop us a line and we will be more than happy to help you, or try to help you at least. So thank you, everybody. And that's the end of our meeting for tonight. So I think we did pretty good.
Thank you,
Thank
Jacob.
you.
Jacob. Stay
Good seeing
safe.
everybody.
It's
Thank
great
you,
that
everybody.
we
Thank you, everybody.
can do this.